Mavs, big romp last night. We got to start, though, this morning with a shocker. It shocked me, at least. Mavs, Clippers, Game 2. Remember, Dallas won Game 1. They had a barrage of three-pointers. So guess what they did in Game 2? Exactly the same thing. They're no dummies. Both Kawhi and Paul George showed up, but they got no help from anyone else on that Clippers team. And Luka was Luka. He took advantage. We'll have much more on him in a second. Clippers lose. They're down 0-2 now, headed back to Dallas. Here's Paul George. Don't forget that. So, Nick, is this series over with the Clippers going down 0-2 in the series?
Jenna, this series is over. This stillborn Clippers era is over. And the Clippers' future of the franchise is as bleak as any team in all of professional sports this side of the Houston Texans. Clippers and Texans actually have something in common. Neither has ever even been to the semifinals of their respective sports championship rounds. But that's neither here nor there. Wilds, what we have here is a perfect storm of terrible, inexplicable at the time, and certainly with hindsight, decisions. In the big picture, the first one is Kawhi Leonard's decision 2 years ago. Kawhi Leonard has had three options. Stay in Toronto with that organization, try to win back-to-back titles, and then evaluate the landscape. Option 2, go home to Los Angeles to play with the greatest player ever in Anthony Davis and win titles. Option 3, go to the sorriest franchise in NBA history, have them trade away every asset they have for Paul George, and say, that's how we're going to do it. And in the meantime, I'll sign with New Balance as a nice little bonus. He chose that. That is a historically bad decision. Almost as bad as the decision Wilds, his organization made when they decided in Game 72, we could play the Blazers in round 1 if we win. We could play the Mavs in round 1 if we lose. And we are going to intentionally lose, so we won't have to play the Lakers in round 2. Instead, we'll play them in round 3. The problem with that is if you go home in round 1, it doesn't matter.
You never get there.
So it was, in hindsight, Wilds, an unforgivable. Well, I'll go to Brandon. Brandon, you disagree with anything I'm saying? They're ruined. They're ruined in this series. No, they have no assets. They have no cap flexibility. They're ruined. The Clippers front office has done a miserable job, and I'm very interested to see for all those guys that, in a few months when they're interviewing for new jobs, because they're all going to be fired, how they justify this roster. Because you're surprised. Let me ask you a question. It seems that yeah, go ahead. Ask the question, please. And then I'll finish the point.
No, I just don't. Yeah, because you just said everyone's fired. You just made a big move in letting go Doc Rivers, and you got a phenomenal coach that's well-respected in Ty Lue. So are they going to make a move there? And then you're talking about Kawhi Leonard leaving. I just don't see this team making any moves. They can't make any moves.
Okay, well, you're right. They are handcuffed for making moves because of the terrible moves the front office has made, which is why I'm not talking about Ty. I'm talking about the GM on down. The front office is going to be gone. Because maybe some people might be surprised that Reggie Jackson has been terrible in the playoffs. I'm not. I've seen him in the playoffs. People are surprised. Wait, Marcus Morris isn't a sharpshooter? Nope, not in the playoffs. Luke Kennard. You gave Luke Kennard $60 million this offseason. He's played 0 minutes. They won't take him off the bench. Serge Ibaka was their big offseason acquisition. He played 5 minutes last night. Nick Batum was supposed to come in and save the day. It's not a good roster. Kawhi and Paul George played as well as you can play, and they lost the biggest game they've played all year. It's not a good roster. Right. Been saying it for 2